Hi. Army lovers owe you today. Jungkook's good looks make ARMY unable to leave BTS. Because of this, the entertainment world was never really ready to face a phenomenon called Jungkook. Behind his innocent smile and piercing gaze, hidden a magical power that even experts in social psychology cannot explain. How can one young man from Busan not only captivate millions of women and men across countries, across languages, across cultures, but also anchor their emotions so strongly that they cry, laugh, fall in love, are heartbroken, and come back to forgive, just because of the look in his eyes? This is no longer just fanaticism. It's deeper. It resembles modern hypnotism wrapped in natural good looks, immeasurable charisma, and past wounds unconsciously felt by the ARMY from different parts of the world. Today, even in the midst of an era when BTS is on hiatus, one name that still resonates and makes people wonder, is this the real reason why BTS was never really abandoned by the ARMY? It's Jungkook. The man who was born in 1997 is not only considered the golden magne because of his versatile abilities. But there is one thing that has quietly become the savior of BTS's existence in the public eye as a storm of breakup and hiatus speculation strikes again and again. Not because of the contract. Not by promise. But because the paras are too perfect to be forgotten. And that's not what the media tells us honestly. Because it is considered too superficial. And therein lies its depth. No one dares to say it out loud, but the ARMY knows. They knew that among all the reasons they held on, Jungkook's good looks were the anchor that secretly held them back from loving BTS, even when they themselves were tired and on the verge of giving up. It's not just about the face. It's about how that face represents struggle, hope, wounds, and a first love that will never truly heal. When ARMY was asked, "Why do you still love BTS until now?" their answers are often diplomatic: the music, the meaning of the lyrics, the friendship between the members, their struggle from scratch, even the social mission they echo around the world. But if given the opportunity to answer without cameras, without public opinion, many of them will look down, take a breath, and finally confess, "Jungkook. I'm staying here because of Jungkook." A confession that sounds simple, but is actually very complex. Not many people know that many soldiers have already wanted to surrender. When rumors of a split appeared. Each member has a solo career. When the world begins to force them to accept the fact that their idols will not be together forever. But among all the storms, Jungkook's good looks are the only light that feels constant. When everything changes, the face remains. The gaze is fixed. A faint smile on the corner of his lips remained. And that's what makes a lot of ARMY finally survive. Because within that gaze, they found a home. Something that even the family itself sometimes cannot provide: comfort and reassurance. Perhaps this sounds banal. Love someone just for good looks. But again, this is not ordinary good looks. Jungkook's good looks are a long story full of wounds. Its appearance is not only the result of genetics, but of the suffering that is passed silently. The camera only captures the bright side of Jungkook, but ARMY, who's watched him since he was 15, knows that there are hundreds of nights where his eyes are puffy, yet he still performs on stage. There were moments where she was sick, feverish, yet still singing as if the world wasn't weighing on her shoulders. Jungkook's good looks are not only visual, but emotional. And that's what makes it addictive. Many fans admitted they couldn't stop looking at Jungkook's fancam videos. But not only because of his perfect movements or his charming facial expressions. More than that, there was some kind of mysterious connection that appeared every time the camera captured his face. "I felt like he was looking straight at me," said an ARMY officer from Brazil. "Every time I look into his eyes, I feel understood, as if he knows what it's like to feel alone," said another ARMY from Indonesia. This phenomenon has become the subject of psychological research. But even scientists can't explain it. How is it possible for one human being to evoke such a deep sense of attachment just through his face? Many refer to Jungkook as the visual standard of Gen Z. But for the ARMY, he's more than that. He is a reminder of a dream that never goes out. About how a person from an ordinary family can break through international borders without scandals, without cheap dramas, only with hard work, dedication and, of course, good looks that make the heart beat for no reason. Critics will probably say this is too much. But how can you explain the millions of people around the world who keep Jungkook's face as their phone wallpaper, even after all these years? How can you underestimate the fact that every time Jungkook releases a selfie, global social media can be paralyzed just because of one photo? And how can you deny that when BTS announced their hiatus, many fans immediately found out, how's Jungkook? Is he okay? Even before finding out about the other members, that is an indisputable reality. Jungkook's good looks not only saved BTS from possible oblivion, but it also saved millions of soldiers from their own lives. Behind her perfect face, fragments of hope are hidden that are the reason for a person to still get out of bed every morning. And this is not a theory. This is real testimony. One of the stories that was never published happened to an army in South Korea who suffered from severe depression. She lost her job, was dumped by a lover, and experienced pressure from her family. At his lowest point, he intended to end his life. But opening the last photo gallery before taking the fatal decision, he saw Jungkook's face, smiling on stage, sweating, his eyes glowing. And at that moment she was crying. Because he felt Jungkook was telling him, you can still go on. The army is alive today. And he referred to Jungkook's face as the light in the darkest hallway of my life. That's why many can't leave BTS. Because Jungkook is not just the main visual of the group, he is the pulse that quietly keeps the flame in the hearts of the fans. Whenever they want to give up, Jungkook's face comes to mind, as if to say, I'm still here. Don't go. And did you know, even HYBE herself once admitted that Jungkook's good looks are the most powerful branding asset they have. In a closed-door meeting leaked to Korean media, an executive stated that as long as Jungkook could still appear in the media, they would not have to worry too much about losing army loyalty. This sentence is electrifying. Many refer to it as visual exploitation. But in fact, they are not mistaken. Even when BTS isn't releasing new music, even when scandals befall the K-pop industry, even when the world starts to change, Jungkook's good looks remain the anchor that holds ARMY back from drifting into pessimism. He became the reason why fans are still waiting patiently, why they are still defending BTS from haters, and why they still believe that one day, the group will return in full formation.